Today we are going to be making pork dumplings. Very nice appetizer you can do, Asian flair to them. So we're going to start with some wonton wrappers. These wonton wrappers you can find at any local grocery store, usually in the fresh herbs section or even in the frozen section. And they're quite pliable. You definitely want to work with them when they're just out of the fridge, because if they do get too warm, they'll start to get a little gooey and a little bit more difficult to work with. So once you've had them out of your package, you want to keep them covered with a cloth, because the more air that hits the wonton wrappers, the drier they're going to become. So, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be stuffing them with a really nice pork filling that has a little bit of hoisin, oyster sauce, some carrot and chive, and as well a little bit of cilantro for a nice little bit of flavor. You don't usually have to add salt or pepper to this, just because the saltiness of the hoisin sauce and the oyster sauce. So, starting with our wonton wrappers, placing them down like so. You can stagger them however you want. We're going to put our filling right in the center of the wonton wrapper. And I like to use a scoop, a portion scoop, because it gives you the equal amount of stuffing in each wonton wrapper. So you kind of have a more uniform product. So just like that, scraping the edges right in the center. And this can be done well in advance, before the day of your party or before your dinner, because these freeze great and they're actually really good to cook from frozen. So you can pull them right out of your freezer and straight into boiling water. But we'll demonstrate that next. So at this point, we've got our filling in the center. Got a little bit of water and a little brush here, and what I'm going to do is just brush the edges lightly, and this water is going to activate the cornstarch and mix together and actually seal up the wonton. And you want to do them one at a time. So taking each corner diagonally like so, bringing them to the top of the filling and a pinch with your fingers to start the process. Then taking from the bottom edge all the way up to the top, pinching, and what you're accomplishing here is getting all the extra air out. So this will have a tighter seal that way. So pinching all the way to the top. And then the final corner, again, pinching all the way, squeezing out that extra air and sealing up the wonton. And once you reach the top part, you just want to give it a quick twist and a nice pinch. So you get this nice kind of design. It's perfectly sealed, just like that. Again, starting with your water on the edges here to work with the cornstarch. Grabbing each diagonal corners, pinching like so, folding up the other corner from the bottom to the top, pinching the whole way up so it's nicely sealed and the air is coming out. And again, the final corner, bringing it up, pinching from the bottom up to the top. And then right at the top here, a nice little twist and turn and pinch. So what I have here is the product that we just made, the wonton pork dumplings, at a frozen state. So I've let them freeze, firm up. Usually it will take around 4 hours. But you want to make sure they're wrapped tightly in your freezer and not touching each other. Otherwise, they'll tend to stick in the freezing process together. And we want them kind of IQF, individual quick freeze. So at this point, we have our boiling water here, and we're going to add our dumplings straight in. And as I spoke before, they're much easier to handle when they're frozen. We'll drop them in. You don't want to overload your pot, definitely with the dumplings. Otherwise, while they cook, they'll cook together and they'll start to stick. So now we're at the point, about the 2-minute mark of our dumplings boiling in this water, and you can see they're starting to actually float, and that is your tattletale sign that they're ready to be taken out of the water. Now, this step, you want to use a slotted spoon to try and get them out with the least amount of water. And you want to have a little pad a dry pad here with some paper towel to get off the extra water. And you want to make sure that the flat side is down while they sit to soak up that extra water. You can even eat them at this stage in the game. You don't have to fry them. I do like the frying technique though. It does give a lot nicer color to it and presents a lot better. There we are. We can turn our water off. Now, you want to use a non-stick frying pan. Pretty high heat. This is a little bit of canola oil in there, and that's going to give you a nice browning on two sides. You want to do two sides, try and do two sides. And again, you do not want to overload the pan with the dumplings. So, nice little sizzle here so you can hear our oil is ready. Definitely want your oil hot. When the oil starts to rivet in the pan like waves, that's when you know your oil is at its proper searing temperature. And one more. There we are. I like to use a little offset spatula just to turn the dumplings around. Or, because we do have a non-stick pan, you can use tongs. So these tongs are nice and easy to use. And you can see they're not sticking at all. You got a beautiful sear on that side. So again, to the other side, beautiful sear there. Folding them over. And at this point, you've got a nice golden color. This is when you want to flip it to the other side. And repeat the step another roughly 30 seconds to a minute on that side. So at this point, we've got a nice sear on both sides. And just take them out. You can see the nice golden color on both sides. Really presents nicely, and they haven't opened up on us, so they've sealed properly. That was the extra air that I was talking about, pulling the air out. And we'll add it to our nice platter here. Give the platter a little bit of height. And we've got a little bit of our hoisin glaze on the bottom there for some extra flavor. Pork dumplings. Visit atgoblueflamekitchen.com for more tips.